What is up, guys? Rick Hackis here, going over what I think will be the best class to pick in the upcoming Prison of Elders mode, introduced in the new House of Wolves DLC for Destiny. I think picking this class will definitely give you an edge when you go into the Prison of Elders. Now, what I think is the best class is the Defender Titan. I think it's clear that if you go in with a Defender Titan, certainly that's what I'm going in with, that you will have an edge in the Prison of Elders. Now, let's go over why I think that is. Firstly, let's just talk about what the Prison of Elders is. Well, it's a wave survival mode. The whole point of it is that you're put in small maps. We're going to get to this, but the fact that it's very small arena-like maps is extremely important. But then you're going to have waves of enemies constantly coming at you, even when you're accomplishing objectives or even when you're fighting bosses. There's going to be more enemies spawning constantly while this is going on. So dealing with multiple enemies in a very small arena is basically the focus of this entire game mode. Now, the fact that, small arenas, we're going back to that, there's no place to go and hide. It doesn't really seem like there's many glitch spots. There doesn't even seem like there's a lot of verticality in the maps I've seen. It's very much just a, small portion, like what would be half of a Crucible map, or even less than half of a Crucible map, all thrown together with constant enemies spawning from all sides. And it seems like in this game mode, it will be very easy to be overwhelmed. You won't be killed by, that one clear enemy who comes up and punches you in the face. You're going to be killed by a culmination of a lot of shots coming from all different directions around the map. But frankly, the most important factor in any sort of wave survival is survivability. You gotta survive. Killing enemies comes at a very close second, but, think about all those late night zombies games with your friends on Call of Duty, Gears of War Horde mode. Think about where it all went wrong. And trust me, if you think back, it always goes wrong when someone dies. Right? Like, that's the thing. Someone dies, the process of going to go get him and revive him usually gets you killed, and it's just a chain reaction of death, and that's usually what leads to your team dying. So you really got to be on top of that survivability. And in my opinion, the class with the most survivability is definitely the Defender Titan. Being able to put down a bubble that you are literally invincible to all forms of damage on the outside is extremely important. Not only that, but you have extra things that increase your survivability as well. For example, if you're using the Helm of State 14, it blinds all enemies entering in this bubble. This is unbelievably useful, especially in what I've seen from the Prison of Elders, which is just, massive enemies. If you're being overwhelmed by enemies, you put down a bubble. If you have the Helm of State 14, any enemy at all that goes inside your Helm of State 14 bubble will be blinded. They will stop shooting, they will cover, their eyes will do the little animation, and they will just be completely yours for the picking. Not to mention, your entire team can fit inside this bubble and are all quite safe from the dangers outside. If that sort of survivability isn't enough, you can also put on Blessing of Light. This skill in your skill tree grants an overshield, essentially, when you're going in your bubble. Again, talk about survivability. You can just dip in your bubble and dip back out and get a full overshield. I just want to mention before I forget here that you're going to see in the gameplay, like, a lot of shotgun kills. A lot. That's because the Defender Titan, in my opinion, is the best class with the shotgun. Now, maybe not in PvP because we don't have Blink, but in terms of PvE, nothing beats the Defender Titan. You can force shotgun range because you just sit in your bubble. The enemies will come to you, or you can just very easily dip out of your bubble, get the enemies that are near it, and you can get so many different shotgun kills. Now, this is important because shotguns are unbelievably overpowered in PvE right now, but no one's using them. And the reason is because, well, even less people were using them before, but Bungie decided to double their damage against PvE enemies. That's insane. Like, I was getting quite a few shotgun kills before this buff, but all shotguns across the board, they were doubled in damage, so they are all doing unreal damage. Like, all the shotguns in PvE, again, are insanely good. but no one uses them just because of how the game is built at the end game content, right? You're very squishy. You know, when you're doing a Nightfall, when you're doing the raid, stuff kills you very quickly, and often it's not really advantageous to even get within shotgun range if you can avoid it. So in that respect, that's why no one is really utilizing shotguns to their full potential in PvE. It's just because enemies do too much damage, especially when you get close. But if you've got that bubble up and you're a Defender Titan, you do not have to worry about that. You want enemies to get close. That is where you thrive. And you get to utilize a shotgun, again, to its absolute full potential and take down enemies extremely quickly. Now, although the Sate 14 is unbelievably useful, it's not required. Like, I was running the Defender Titan well beyond. I actually got the Sate 14 pretty recently, and you can still go into the Prison of Elders with a Defender Titan without the Sate 14. I do not want that to be like seeming like you absolutely need the Sate 14. I mean, it definitely helps, but why not just use the Rune Wings? Use Blessing of Light so you get that extra survivability because you won't be blinding enemies. Use the Rune Wings so that you get an unreal amount of heavy ammo. You know, Titans know what I'm talking about. If you're some hunter, yeah, back the fuck off, because if you're a Titan, you know what I'm talking about. When you put on the Rune Wings, it's just seas of purple. It's just purple everywhere, and it's beautiful. There is so much heavy ammo, and the thing is, even if heavy ammo doesn't drop when you're using the Rune Wings, you pick up a heavy ammo, you get 4, sometimes 5 heavy ammos. I can't, it's so depressing when I switch to my Hunter or my Warlock and I pick up a heavy ammo and I get one, like what the hell? I would much rather be the Titan and pick up 4 or 5 rockets when I go over the heavy ammo and fuel my terror with the Galahorn or the Hunger of Crota, or even why not just use the Thunderlord. Any amount of extremely powerful heavy weapons can be utilized to great effect when using the Rune Wings. So why not use it with the Defender Titan, be able to have that bubble and have that survivability, and use the Iron Harvest skill that makes your character produce orbs of light whenever you get heavy weapon kills. I mean, Rune Wings, Galahorn, Iron Harvest, you are going to be bleeding orbs and your entire team is going to be using their supers all the time. Now that is an important factor, that you want to be creating orbs for the rest of your team. You're definitely going to want people to be using his supers as quickly as possible. The Defender Titan definitely doesn't create much orbs when it goes down. Like, it's only going to create 2 orbs, but stuff like Gift of Light, allowing you to, while you're under Force Barrier, melee kills will generate orbs of light, and also Gift of the Void, allowing that when your Ward of Dawn, your bubble, takes damage, it'll produce more orbs of light, really kind of make up for this. So make sure, you know, one of your skills should be dedicated to just helping your teammates out with producing more orbs of light. So no matter what gear you have, heck, the Armamentarium is actually great with the Defender as well, because having 2 of those sticky grenades that explode twice is fantastic. Again, so many different armor works with the Defender Titan that I don't want to make it seem like it's, you know, you need this Helm of Sate 14 to make it function. There's a lot of things that just make the Defender Titan unreal. The fact that it just is the most survivable class. Putting down that bubble increases your survivability insanely, and you have other perks to make this even more so. This is absolutely the best possible thing you can do when you're getting surrounded by enemies, when you're being attacked on a small map, or, you know, at all angles. Just putting a bubble, saying, you know what, me and my team are completely safe in this bubble. We now have increased weapon damage if you have weapons of light, or massively increased shields because of overshields with Blessing of Light. Your entire team is going to get this huge buff. You're going to be completely safe, and you're going to be playing and fighting on your terms. You're going to get to choose your engagement lengths. You're going to get to choose when you leave the bubble, which enemies to engage, and it just increases the survivability of your whole team by a ton. Again, it's the best possible thing you can do when you're overwhelmed, is putting down that bubble. It changes everything. Not only that, but certain portions of the Prison of Elders, especially with the objectives. I mean, it's not just wave survival. Certain times during this wave, you're going to have to go out and do these objectives. You know, defuse a mine. Nothing's going to be better than if a teammate is defusing a mine where they're actually going to not really be able to engage enemies. They're going to be holding X or square, whatever console you're on, and, you know, slowly defusing, watching their objective circle complete. You can put a bubble over them and really help them do this. As someone who played a ton of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer back in the day, and trust me, the Prison of Elders is basically a ripoff of the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, your team is going to die doing these objectives, like coming out of where you've been holding out to go out into the map and do these objectives that kind of spawn randomly. This is a death sentence a lot of the times, especially on the higher difficulties, but being able to completely defend your team with a bubble, that is an absolute godsend. So in summary, the fact that the Prison of Elders requires such a high degree of survivability means you should pick the class and the subclass with the highest survivability, and that, in my opinion, is the Defender Titan. Not to mention certain aspects of the Prison of Elders, like the objectives, really almost require a Defender Titan to really run smoothly. The Defender Titan in and of itself doesn't even require a specific gear to function. However, certain specific gears make it even better than it will be going into the Prison of Elders. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe if you want to see Destiny videos similar to this, and as always, have a good day.